we're done our book study. Okay, so we're done the last one, and like we had posted, we talked together and decided for the benefit of everyone that we were going to start The Slightest Edge in September instead of today. And the reason for that was because, number one, we just came out of such an amazing book that takes time for us to be able to implement. We don't want to just be buzzing through, especially a book like that, and then being like one and gone. I want you guys to be able, I want to be able to really soak in, to practice, to be aware, right? And especially as we're going into summer, I don't feel like summer is a time where we just like lay aside our business and our learning, but summer is a time where there's more things on the agenda, right? And so we just need a bit more flexibility in it. So it gives us time to just really absorb and soak in and that awareness. And you can start reading The Slightest Edge, in your favorite summer spot. And then when we come to it, we're going to review it and we're going to get much more conversation out of it. So I, though, really advocated that. And, you guys you can vote on this too. You have a voice. I personally really like these Connect Zooms. It would be a shame to me to just totally say it's summer, I don't want to do them anymore. And the reason for that is because I look forward to them. I think, just to be able to know on Saturday morning, I got all these amazing women here, and it's just a connection point. And so it's going to be more of a community feel rather than you just listening to a book study from now until September. And so if you can make it wonderful, I still encourage you to let your teams know, come when you can. If something comes up, that's no problem. I'm going to, when I lead them as much as I can, I'm going to have a topic. So today I had listened to a podcast by Les Brown called Don't Give Yourself Excuses. And I highly encourage you, if you have the podcast app, to write that down. And it's one that I will put on repeat because it's just so good. I mean, it's Les Brown, right? But the topic is so good and you can relate that to any topic of life. So one thing with us not doing a book study too is to have more moments of interaction here on the Zoom. So when I say community feel, it's us talking back and forth to each other. And so as much as you can, come with your cameras on, if you can only listen in because you really don't want to miss it, no problem, right? But as much as you can, come kind of knowing, hey, we're going to like sit and actually have a coffee date. So having said that, this morning, what I first want to talk about, Kate, number one, who had an iPad delivered this week? Did everybody get their iPads this week? Because I know a bunch of the Canadians got their iPads.
I did.
Awesome.
I was excited.
So good. Who's Galaxy S9? Who's talking to me?
It's Millie Garcia.
You can't see me?
I cannot see you if you're Galaxy S9.
That's me.
Who's me?
Millie Garcia.
Oh, awesome. Good job. It's so exciting. That is so exciting when that package.
Yes, it was very exciting.
That's amazing. Please send one of the Rockin Wellness admins, send a picture of you holding your iPad. We want to make a big post. Super exciting.
Okay.
You got yours too?
Mine's waiting for me when I get home today.
Exciting. So good. I mean, who does this, you guys? I'm serious. We all know friends in network marketing companies, and they get some perks here and there, but have you ever seen like dozens of your friends getting iPads at the door? Because I'm sorry, I haven't. I mean, that's just, and it wasn't even anything ridiculous, crazy. We didn't have to sell our kids and we didn't have to, pack up and move somewhere to earn them. I mean, it was just, yeah, awesome. Okay, so right now, they did the iPad thing, and right now we're talking the Rise Up, right? Rise Up 369. So 3 level 1 ambassadors with welcome pack is the Bluetooth water bottle. I don't have it in front of me. 6, I believe, is the gift card, right? Or the cash for the Canadians. Is that right? To get the water bottle and either the Lululemon gift card or the cash for Canadians. And then 9, you get all those things plus the Apple Watch. I think you can choose between an Apple and, is it a Garmin or something? There's another one. I know you can choose between 2. So who's here is running? I mean, it's only, what is it today, the 25th? It's the 25th. So we've got 6 more, you include today, yeah, we've got 6 more full days, 25 to 6, 7, got 7 full days to be able to crush that goal. So who here, has anybody already achieved any of those levels? Has anyone gotten that water bottle or the gift card? Still working on it? Don't be shy, it's all good. I'm still working on it too, it is all good. But what I say by that is it is not over until it is over. So does someone want to share what is something you're actively doing for the next 7 days to be able to get to your goal? Because when we had the iPads, you guys absolutely blew it out of the water. So what would be a few things that you're doing even to get to that first level, to 3 new ambassadors?
I'm hosting a sip and see on Monday. I find those work well for me, so I'm continuing to do that.
That's amazing. You do really great sip and sees, Joelle, and they do work well for you. It's great.
Thank you.
We've got the half off enrollment, right? So what a great time for sip and sees to be able to offer that as, you know, an incentive for people that come. I mean, hey, I can offer you, did you like what you hear? Remember to ask for the sale. I heard something, you might want to write this down. I heard something the other day, and I believe it was shared. It was something Bob Heilig had said. If you never ask for the sale, but you're posting and you're sharing Plexus, you're actually just simply being third-party validation for somebody else. And I was like, ugh, that's really what you're doing, right? Plexus is amazing. Here's a story. Here's this. Here's what I'm using. But if you're never like, are you ready to begin? Guess what they're going to do? Plexus is amazing. Plexus is amazing. And then, you know, someone 2 states or 3 provinces over and be like, Plexus is amazing. Do you want to order? And then guess what they're going to be like? Yeah, I do, because that other person might not have asked. Has someone shared Plexus with you? And they may not realize that you've been sharing Plexus because you haven't actually asked for the order. And that was just very like, whoa. That's actually usually what we're doing. We're being third-party validation, right, for somebody else. So we don't want to just be the third-party validation. We want to offer value to them, but then we have, like Bob Heilig always says, we're in here to convention. Get them through your funnel as quick as possible. You have to ask for the order. It's not rude. It's not selfish. You're just getting them through the funnel. Who cares what they say? Just get them through the funnel and then move on, move on. And it might just not be their 12th hour, right? It might just not be their time to actually say yes, but that's okay, right? Their time is going to come, and you want to be known as that person. I got a referral 2 days ago from somebody who just in my area knew that I was that person, and she actually has a Plexus account, but she just, you know, using it for personal use, and she said, I just met this lady today. I've never met her in my life, but I was the person she thought of, right? Isn't that nice? Because they see you, just be that person in your area. So when the time is right. Okay, so let's.
That is so exciting, Heidi. I actually had the same experience this month. I signed up a total stranger that a friend connected me with. And I'm excited. She wants to work the business. She's excited to see her family's health change. And I'm like, wow. So you were asking what we're actively doing to get that water bottle and that Lululemon gift card and all of that. I have been off for 2 days because of circumstances of life, and now I'm back on, and I'm so excited. I'm going through every one of my posts of the last 2 weeks and writing down all the names of the likes and comments that I need to follow up with, plus a whole bunch of prospects I had before. So I'm going to be going out there and asking for the sale. I'm done with the third-party validation as well. I know I've been doing it. So I'm excited to see which of those prizes, how many I'm getting. I'm aiming for 2, but we'll see.
I can tell you, I was one of those people that I had a friend who was my third party validation, ended up joining under Annette and Jessica. And she never, you know, I saw her post. I loved her Plexus post, but I didn't realize that you know, I needed Plexus too, but I was fascinated by all of her posts. So that pump had already been primed, but she never once reached out and said, you know, anything about Plexus to me personally. So then when my neighbor invited me to a Plexus party across the street and Jessica, I was like, okay, I'm doing this. But it was all of that third party validation that had really done the work. And I don't know what would have happened if she had actually reached out and, you know, said, Luann, like, hey, I noticed you clicked like on my post. You know, what did you like about that? You want to chat more? Like, nothing like that ever. So, yeah, ask for the sale. I totally agree.
I have a question about that. If they're only liking on your posts that are about your garden and not plexus, but you know they're seeing it because it's there, do you count that and go ahead and ask?
It depends, I guess. You know, if you know specifically who's watching and you know that they are curious, I think you could do that either way. I think what Luann was saying is she's just specifically targeting the ones that have said like, hey, I like that. Hey, that stood out to me. Because if you think of yourself reading a post and, you know, you'll read, oh, whatever, and you keep scrolling, but you're like, oh, hey, and then you'll click like, right? And then you'll keep going. So there's something in there. So I think I would start with the ones that are liking your, you know, it's not to say you can't reach out to somebody else if you know they're there, but we also, yeah, you want to spend your time on the ones that have kind of put up a flag that said, I'm interested, right? Not just kind of scattering seeds out into the wind, but just focusing on those specific ones. Yeah, so that you're marketing the right ones.
Exactly. And about the ones that like your garden posts, if you see someone that has potential, I try not to waste a lot of time with the people that I don't feel, that I'm not even sure that I want on my team. Of course, I don't turn anybody away, but you know what I'm saying. So the ones that are liking your posts and you see them as, I want, this person could do so well with plexus, I would start to build a relationship outside of plexus. And of course, as life flows, you can talk about life, and that includes plexus. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
The other part that I wanted to say is I really enjoyed the health professionals live YouTube the other night. So I'm going to send that out as well. And then follow up with, are you ready to get started?
Yes, it's the follow-up, isn't it? Did you guys watch the live that I interviewed Crystal, top enroller in Canada right now? And she said she used to not follow up out of fear of like, oh, they're going to tell me they're detoxing, you know, or they want to quit. And she just said, so she just would rather not. And when she started realizing, actually, it's my job to make sure. So every 2 or 3 days, not like she just was in there, and making sure. And she said, once she took away that fear, she's enrolled 40 level 1s since March and 6 new silvers. She said it all has to do with follow-up and, of course, mindset. She had to take away that fear of, I'm scared to follow up. I know we've all felt the same way. Shoot, I still sometimes feel the same way. Like, oh, they've been really quiet. They're seeing my message. They're not answering. That must mean they're going to quit, you know, rather than be like, you know what, Kate, they're not answering my messages. I need to pick up the phone. You know, there's something else. Maybe it's busy. Maybe they are going to quit. You know, maybe like Jess says, maybe their bum's burning because no one's checked with them about their bio cleanse and they didn't listen to what I said. They're taking way too many, you know. It could be a multitude of different reasons, but we get scared to follow up. So you guys want to hear a little bit about this podcast about Les Brown? This just stood out to me so much, bum burners. I love that. Okay, so I loved it, and I took lots of notes on my like second or third time listening to it. So the title, and you guys go listen to it, is called Don't Give Yourself Excuses. Put it in your like favorites. Super good. It's only 21 minutes long. And one of the first things he said is that the word but is an argument for our limitations. And when we argue for our limitations, we always get to keep them, right? That word but is so much more powerful than what we actually give it to the credit for. He said, here's what the word but is going to cause you to do. So if you like taking notes, but will cause you to procrastinate. It will cause you to hide behind your fears. And it will cause you to come up with excuses to validate your inaction. Right? We're always looking to validate that inaction. And that stood out to me because you know what you want. You know what you're capable of. You know the end goal, but it's the getting there, right? It's the getting there. Like, I know that I should host Sip and Seas. I know that I should, just talk to that chicken lister, but, and then we come up with excuses. That word but is actually just your shield. It's just your shield. It's your armor. You're putting it up. You're saying, what you're really saying is, yeah, I know that here's what I need to do, and I really should pick up the phone, call that person, but, and you're going to throw up your shield if you're visible, right? But I'm going to hide behind here because actually I'm too scared to do it, so I'm going to make something else up. And that's really what happens. So he says there's no such thing anymore in this world as job security. There's no such thing. There used to be job security where you had a job, especially if it was a government job. You kind of, if you think of our parents and, whatever, they had a job and that's just what they did. And they just knew that when they were done that job, they were going to have either their savings, their pensions, their retirement. I'm going to tell you something, and Les says it in here too, that security is actually gone. We don't have that anymore. We have the hope of it, that in literally less than a day, that can all be shattered, which is why so many people are reaching out to do multiple streams of income. Okay, if I can be a little forward here, you don't want to be caught with your pants down. It's scary. Think right now, because we're talking about excuses, think right now, if something would happen, for those of you that are still in the workforce or your husband's the primary breadwinner, maybe you are, right now, if you were told your job is done, or there was a crisis in the government or whatever it is, your job is just done, how long would you be able to float with what you currently have right now? If you think of your current expenses, right, and what you need and what's sitting in the bank, right? And for most people, it's not more than 2 paychecks. For most people, the average, that's just like the average. Isn't that crazy? Super crazy. And so he says there is no such thing as job security. We need to stop acting like there is, because we're throwing out all these buts. You've got this opportunity in front of you, and then we're like, oh yeah, but. We get so comfortable in but I have this over here, but the problem is this isn't actually a security blanket, right? So we're like, what are we doing? If you ever think, oh, it's only so-and-so that's going to reach diamond or the top, every testimony I hear, I'm like, but she's just a mom running a daycare. Crystal's an RN. She's an RN. Oh, but I can't because I work shift work. Crystal's an RN, I work shift work, and she just signed up 40 level 1s. What's the difference? Because it's not the person, it's not the position, it's not anything except for the fact that she actually stood up and did it, right? So he says, and I want you right now to say out loud, I'm going to start taking charge of my life. Say it right now. I'm going to start taking charge of my life. Because if you don't, nobody's going to for you, and you're going to keep throwing up your shield. He says, and this is kind of funny, he says, what a lot of people say to him is this classic line of, one day I'm going to get started when I've got my feet on the ground, right? You always hear people say, you've probably heard it, you've probably said it, I just got to get through this and that, right? I would do it right now, but this and this is going on, and then I'm going to get to it, right? So people say, when I get my feet on the ground, it's all good. And then he says in his podcast, well, what have you been standing on until then? And if you've ever heard Les Brown, his laugh is just absolutely contagious, but it's true, right? It is a myth that we're ever going to be in a place that when we get over that thing, then we're going to be good to go. Because when you get over one thing, there's going to be 12 more, right? Amen to that. There's always something else. I'm like, oh, it's like if you are a young mom and you're like, oh, as soon as my kid's potty trained, or as soon as they're, napping this and that, you're like, then I'm going to do this. And you're like, oh, dang, I actually just something brand new started. Now that's done, but now we got this, or maybe it's something with work. As soon as we get through this project, or as soon as we get through moving from this building to that one, whatever, then I'm going to be able to do it. No, because then someone else quits or someone calls in sick. Or then your family needs you. So there's always something. So he says a lot of people are saying no to something that they've never even tried yet, right? Because if there's a fear of something that I don't know yet. So they say no right away. It's like when you ask people, I've actually determined I don't even like the word share plexus anymore. I'm preferring to say participate. People hear the word, I can help you share, and they're like, no. because it's not, they've never even tried it though. So we're just sitting here scratching our heads. We're like, what? It's so easy. We have the video. You can send. It's all good. I'll write you the message. But they're like, no, I can't sell. Have they ever tried? Right? It's insecurity. It's all rooted in insecurity mindset. They have no idea what it's even like to do, right? Social media marketing or network marketing. But they're telling themselves about no anyways because they're throwing up their shield. And we often throw up our shields too. We just like to look at them instead of stare at ourselves. And so sometimes we're doing the same thing. So he says, we pretend that life is good. We pretend that we're like, that's okay, life is good. I'm comfortable where I am. It would be amazing to have all this extra, but life is good. So it's not really a pressure or a priority. Does that make sense? We take it as a kind of like an extra bonus, not as anything serious, right? Kind of like, I'll just dabble in it, right? Because life's actually okay, we're making it. But what would happen if you hit a crisis Monday morning? What happens if you go to work or something? Or your husband goes to work and he comes home and he's like, babe, like they told me I'm done. Like I had a 10-year contract, but I'm done. There's no work for me, right? And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, you're white as a ghost because we have nothing to fall back on. And that's why this type of industry is so good. So he says, deep down, we all want something more. And it's not a selfish more, it's we want to bless more. We want to provide more. If you're a mom of, how fun is it to bless your kids, your grandkids? It's not actually about self. If you really sit down and think about it, it's not about self. Maybe you want a bigger home. There's nothing wrong with that. Typically, you want a bigger home so you can have more people in it, right? You want a bigger table so more people can fit around your table. People say, why do you just want a bigger house? It's just not so like all about you, but people just can't see that because they can't picture themselves having it. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Is that resonating a little bit, right? So he says, watch people's actions when they pretend, because most people are pretending, right? They'll say, here's an example. They'll pretend that they want to lose weight. You'll hear them all the time. I want to lose weight. I got to do this. I'm going to do that. Okay? I'm currently kind of in the pretending stage myself because I ate chips last night and I was thinking like, oh my gosh, he said, right? If you want to do something and you say, here's what I want to do, but you're actually usually just pretending unless you're actually doing it. So if you're saying I want to lose weight, but then you're, sitting and eating brownies and chips like me and not exercising, you don't actually want to lose weight. You just are saying you want to lose weight, so it sounds good, right? If you say, I want to reach these goals, what did I write down here? Plexus. I said, if you want to succeed in plexus, right? People say, yeah, of course I want to succeed, right? Of course I want to succeed, but what are the actions showing? Are you pretending? Do you does it sound comfy, right? Do you like just being a part of, this excited thing, which is awesome, but do you really want to succeed, right? Are you taking the actionable steps to actually succeed? And I think that's kind of where the aha moment is. Am I a pretender or am I actually a doer? So he says the proof is in the pudding. If you're actually serious, and this is like a really good one to write down if you like posting encouraging things, he says do what you can, where you are, with what you have, and never be satisfied. That'd be like worthy of a frame, because that's for all of life, right? Do what you can, where you are, with what you have, and never be satisfied. Don't settle for mediocrity. The world settles for mediocrity because if you want something more, it makes someone else feel uncomfortable that they maybe should be doing more, but they're comfortable in their current, right? And so they don't like seeing you, growing a business or becoming independent or having this multiple stream of income or, winning these incentives and awards, because all that does to them makes them realize that it's their insecurity.
You guys can take it with you.
One second. I'm just looking for
whenever you have.
There we go. Sorry, guys. Just wanted to. So, So, anyways, hopefully that makes sense. He says, always strive to be more than you are because you deserve more, right? You really do deserve more. You deserve more. The verse we were on another Zoom, and the verse that I have up at my computer says, it's from Ephesians 3:20, and it says, now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we can imagine according to his power that's at work within us. That's been my verse for May. And I think it's important to focus on those things. So he says most people are going to tippy-toe quietly and safely through life because that's where it's comfortable, right? They're scared of what's on the other side, of how it could feel, right? What they could all have. It feels scary. It's unknown because they've never had it before. So he says, typically what we'll say is, well, there's always going to be tomorrow, right? I got busy today. I'll get to it tomorrow. There's going to be tomorrow. Well, unfortunately, there's people that were here yesterday that aren't here this morning. Isn't that something to think about? There's people yesterday walking around that had no idea that they wouldn't be here this morning. And I don't say that to be like, right, a downer, but that is actually our reality. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed. It's not guaranteed for me. It's not guaranteed for Ruth or for Millie or for Luann or Joelle or anybody on the Zoom. We're assuming that tomorrow's going to be here, right? So why put off today for tomorrow what we could be doing right now? Because you don't know what tomorrow. You have no idea. And, you know, I'm not saying that we need to wake up with fear. I'm just saying, do you see what I'm saying? If we push everything to tomorrow, to tomorrow, to tomorrow, well, none of that's guaranteed. So he says, don't wait. And what ends up happening with all the people waiting, okay, they're delaying their blessings, they're delaying their successes, but then you know what's happening? The ones that are hustling are coming up from behind, and they're picking up all those things left behind from the ones that are procrastinating. Do you see where we get to the 2 to 3% of society that is actually the achievers? Because everyone else is like, tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. And then you got someone back here, they're like, tomorrow's not guaranteed, so I better hurry up, right? And then you come and you pick up all these leftovers, all these blessings that could have been meant for somebody else in the process, and then all of a sudden we get, and we do a fast forward, and then all of a sudden you're like, how did she get up on the stage already? I've been doing the same thing in my mind. I had that same goal, right? I was going to be that same thing, right? But we never know anybody's journey, right? And if you listen to Abby Kappa's new podcast, her first podcast tells her story, and I tell you, I'll never look at her the same again. My mouth dropped open of what she all went through. People say, oh, she's 23, she just lucked out, got to diamond. No way, my friends. Have a puke pail when you listen to her podcast. She went through so much, it is unbelievable. Just as a woman listening to her story is crazy, and she still got to where she was going because she had to. So he says, decide to do it now. So I'm going to ask 3 people right now to share your why. And the reason that we want to share our whys is because we need to renew our whys, right? We need to renew and refresh that why. So does someone want to lift a hand so I can use you to lead you through the first example here? Someone willing to share whys? Okay, Lydia. Okay, so let's unmute you. Okay, so what is your, tell us what is your like main why you're doing Plexus?
It's kind of selfish.
Okay, wait, start again.
I don't just love gardening. I live for it, and I have an 1.5 acre berry farm, and it's just new. We've only started planting 3 years ago, and I have this vision in my mind of how I want it to be and what it will look like. And I want so much to be out there doing that. And I love digging in the dirt and growing things with my headset on and good stuff playing in it. I just thrive on that. But what holds me back is I have another company, and I need to replace my income in that company so that I can sell it and be done with it. So Monday to Friday, I'm like hair straight back, busy with that company. And and my garden sits there, not just my garden, my property, it just sits there waiting to be developed.
I love it. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper. What's it going to mean when you have that garden and all your rows are full, right? What's that going to mean? Dig a little deeper.
Well, it means that I have the freedom, the time freedom to do what I want. I mean, I know winter comes and there's 4 feet of snow and I'm not out there then, but I'm planning and I'm thinking and I'm wanting to, let's go and look at a vineyard in France. Let's go and look at, you know, something else to get more ideas.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I love it. And then you have the time freedom and you have the income to be able to do that.
So I'm hearing that part of your why is because you want to travel to some really neat destinations, right? Where there's areas of passion for you, right?
Yeah, and I want blue lots.
Do you picture yourself going alone to those places, or do you see other people with you traveling?
Oh, I would love other people to come with me. I'm actually a little bit nervous of going alone. So yes, I want other people there.
So who would you take with you?
Well, I would hope to take my husband. Yeah. I don't know who else I'd take with me. Who wants to come?
Okay, there you go, right? So you're already moving to the I want to be able to bless others. What I'm hearing too from your vineyard example, from your fruit vineyard there, is that you're never going to be able to eat all that alone. So I see that somewhere deep in you, right? I'm hearing that you're somehow going to bless somebody else through it. So it's not actually selfish at all because you're not growing it. You enjoy it, but you're going to somehow bless others through it because you're not going to eat, you can't harvest and eat it all, right? So, yeah. So that's really, really neat. Okay, who else wants to share their why? So good. Wave your hand at me. Okay, Millie. Trying to unmute. Okay, I unmuted you. There you go.
Okay, here we go. Well, my why keeps changing because I thought I wanted my husband to come home from work. I don't want my husband home from work. I want him to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it, but not necessarily be in my space. I mean, I'd love to travel with him, but no. Or maybe it'd be different if he hadn't had an operation. I don't know, but I'm just like, I love my husband, but I'm like, I don't get to manage my house. You know what I mean? It's just like so different. And I feel a little embarrassed, but that was one of my whys. But my why is to be financially where I could take care of myself, not be in debt. And I've been working on that since I started doing plexes. And I'm getting down, which is really fantastic. I've paid a lot of my debt off. But we bought a big place on 3 acres, which I love it. I have a little farm, but I need a housekeeper because I hate housework. I hate laundry. And that is another why. And I'm telling you, I love being a mother to my children and being out with the animals and doing all that, but I don't have time to do everything. So I need to multiply. And what that looks like to me is to have someone come in my house and clean my house once a week or once every 2 weeks. And do my laundry. I hate laundry. Okay, I'm just plain and simple. I hate it. And I've asked a couple people to come and give me bids, but you know what? It's like nobody takes me seriously. And I don't want to get somebody that's not honest. So I have a really hard time having someone come in. But another reason why I do plexes, and the first and foremost, is when I sit next to somebody and they can't breathe, I could reach out and tell them, you know what, I got the answer. I was that way. And I did, and I signed up a little old lady, and she's so excited. She's signing up someone. So, like, I see where my passion and my heart is. I was scared to reach out to her because she's older than me. And so I sit there, and I sit for months. I've known her for years, because she sits with me on the pew. Finally, I said, you know what, honey, I'm going to share this with you, and you could do what you want with it. But the Lord was like nudging me, are you going to say something to her, or are you going to let her suffer? Because I'm good at talking to other people, but like, I don't know. I didn't want her to feel like I was taking advantage of her or something. But she was just so sick. And she's excited. She's taking the products, and that's my why, is to help other people that's really, really sick. But I will say this. My why has grown because I want to get those people that really want a business. You know what I mean? Not just get the sick people, okay? Because I just went through a stomach virus. Nobody knows I've been sick for about a week. And I thought it was die-offs, but I found out that it was a virus. I mean, I was incapacitated. So I need people that could continue to do things when I can't do them. So my mind is opening up to other things. I mean, I would really love to get, another Jessica. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that, well, I have one of those where I'm ordering her stuff all for her, and she's a go-getter, and I know she's going to be great. Okay, because she does her business. She's an insurance agency. Then I have a real estate person, and I'm doing their orders and stuff, and I'm letting them fall in love with the products, and I'm just wanting them to take off. There was another thing I wanted to say. I know we're on our whys, but you said, what are we going to do to get to our next level? I just keep doing the same thing all the time, and that's reach out, talk, call, message. Yeah. So anyway, I'm really excited about Plexus. As long as I'm well, I'm a go-getter. But the minute I start getting sick, or I have die-offs or something, I'm telling you, I am a wuss. I am a wuss. So I'm drinking my lemon juice, my lemon water with the root, ginger, and you know what I'm saying? I'm doing all the things I need to do, but it just takes a while. It's like peeling an onion, because once I get feeling super good, which today I feel super good. Okay, yesterday I was incapacitated. I just, you know what I'm saying? But I understand those people that, that are peeling the onion too. It's to be consistent. I told Jessica, she said like something about where I was or something, I don't know. And I just said, I'm being slow and steady, because whenever I was sick and I woke up, I'm talking to a few ladies that I think are going to sign up. And, but my why is to help as many people not be sick,
right.
And to get an income.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Awesome. Thanks, Millie. So good. Okay. I'm just looking at the
That was a phone
here.
call coming in.
Okay, no, that's okay. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
All right, one more why. Anybody? Ashley, thanks for joining us, you little guy. Are you able to unmute? Do you want to share us what has you showing up and ready to go? Not right now. Okay, no problem. Okay, Ruth, can you actually share your why? Being that sometimes I think we, especially the longer we're in Plexus, we have to really reevaluate, right, our why. And yeah, I'd love to hear your renewed why.
Sure. Right now, it is very personal. My husband has been struggling with some like depression cycles, and a lot of it comes from stress. Some of that's our location, some of it's work. And so I'm like, we need to have the freedom. We need to have the financial freedom and the time freedom to move or do as a family what's healthy, like, because my kids deserve to have a dad around. It's a personal thing right now. So I don't think I can share anymore. Sorry, Heidi. I totally didn't mean to break down here.
That's okay. Let's pray for Ruth, guys. Let's be praying for, we go through seasons, right? And that's, I think that's why we're so blessed in having this, to be able to, our first instinct is to think, oh, it's so selfish that I'm doing this. It's so not. That is just such a lie of the enemy. It's so not, and we all have such a different story and a different heart's purpose and reason. And 99% of the time, it's not nearly about us, right? So Ruth, we're going to be praying for you. I'm going to be praying for you. We're going to lift you up. We're going to lift up Derek. And we're going to pray for him too, that spirit of depression leaves his body and that he just gets that renewed spirit. So what I did this week is I broke down my own why, and I broke it down into we need to have goals, success goals on the way to the big why, right? Because sometimes that gap is too big. So here's what I did. And if you want to do this week, I really encourage you. I sat down with Kurt, and I wanted there to be a celebration for him too, not just me. This can be with anybody in your life, right? It doesn't have to be your spouse, somebody that you want to celebrate with when you get to your goals. So I made 3 different levels, 3 different, ledges between right now and Emerald, which would be my next rank. You do this wherever you're at. So the first one, when I get to a certain number, it's all a certain number of points for me. When I get to a certain number of points, I'm going to this thing called, there's a spa here that does hammams. So I've never looked up, it's a Turkish thing. It's like amazing. So to me, that's going to be my reward for getting to that first plateau. And Kurt, obviously, I want him to come. I'm not totally sure if he's going to, but if he comes to celebrate with me, wonderful. Then I have a second ledge, which again would be halfway between the first one and the Emerald, right? So I took it up one more notch. There's a reward that I can't share with you because it would be too personal, but I promised you, right? Kurt gets to celebrate too. And then the second half of that for me was, I love the word Yahweh. It's my favorite word in the whole planet. And I've always wanted a necklace that has it in cursive. And so Kurt said, when you get to that second plateau, he's going to order me a necklace. And I think it's going to be extra special if I wait for it. And then when I actually hit my rank, we have decided we're going away on a 3-day weekend, a 4-day weekend. We're going to fly to Toronto. And we have this specific hotel room that we want to get, and we are going to be celebrating like we did this because I want him to be a part of the celebration, and we just need to get away. And so whatever that is for you, your celebrations are going to look different, but make them something that you're like excited about, looking forward to. Don't wait until, you get to gold. Celebrate super silver, right? Celebrate halfway from gold to senior gold. You don't have to wait until we get to diamond to have this huge party. Have a party. Invite your closest friends over, right? Like, celebrate that you're doing it and that you're achieving, you're succeeding. Because I think if we're constantly sitting on pins and needles, like we can't even celebrate till we get there, we could have a really pokey bum for a long time, right? You're gonna put your bum to sleep sitting on those needles. So we need to just get up and celebrate in between. So Les says, let's stop being spectators. Okay, many people die at 21, but don't get buried until decades later because we die to our dreams. We die to our potential. We literally start going through life, and he says, you can see it, and you might be one of those people, I'm not sure. He said, you can see it when people walk in a room if they're dead or alive. You can see it in their body posture. You can hear it in their tone of voice. And he says, if you're walking into a room and you have this, if you just have this, your shoulders are down and you have this posture of insecurity and disbelief in yourself and all of that, he says, what's going to make somebody else want to join you, right? If you're not even excited about what you're doing, if people can't hear it like this, you say, I don't want to be fake. You're not being fake, but then you might not, maybe you're just not truly excited, and maybe you need to reevaluate that why. And so what I did is I sat down last week and spent an hour in devotion time, and I just sat down and really crunched down, why am I actually doing it? And I had to pick it apart. And I had to pick it apart some more, like I was trying to do with Linda, right? Pick it apart some more. Okay, well, that's great that I want this or that, but what's the reason behind wanting that? And then when I got there, I peeled the onion and peeled the onion. Because most people, we're literally the walking dead. Most people. I'm not saying us. I'm just saying in general, we're the walking dead, because being dead is kind of comfortable, and you don't have to experience failure because we're scared to fail. And so it's way more comfortable to just sit as a zombie through life. But take a peek today, tomorrow, this weekend when you're out, take a peek, kind of look at people, you'll see it. You'll hear it in their voices when if you ask them a question, they're like, yeah, I think you go around that corner, or you're going to be like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm so glad you asked. You just go down there and you turn that hallway, right? You can really see and hear the difference in them. People don't order based on logic. They order based on how you make them feel. You can give them all the facts that you want, but if you're just spitting them facts and sending them messages, and if you see them in person, you're like, oh, hey, what about they're not going to sign up with you because they're like, well, she's not even excited. It's why you see a level 1 who decides to get just kind of distracted. And then you're like, where's all your people? Well, the person that got them excited isn't excited, so they're not excited anymore. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So he says, be excited about what you're doing. People look to see if you're excited and if you're energetic, right? Is it sometimes that we naturally have a more flamboyant personality? Sometimes, yes. But I promise you that you've been excited at some point in your life and you acted equally flamboyant, right? I remember one time I found out for my 16th birthday at 16 years old that my parents were taking me on a trip I hadn't even fathomed. And I got on top of my bed and I was jumping on top of my bed like I was 3 years old. I had so much like energy, I didn't know what to do. And I remember jumping. I'll never forget thinking, this must look absolutely absurd, but I can't stop jumping. I just had to get out, right? The energy. And so find that excitement, find that energy so that when you see someone in line somewhere, that you're you do with it what you want, but I'm not going to not tell you about this, right? Don't worry about if you're a lunatic. I had someone totally eat me alive this past week. I don't really care. It doesn't matter, right? They just don't understand. I had 2 people actually, and one of them is local. They're like, yeah, we're just going to agree to disagree on that pink drink. I'm like, hey girl, that's all good, right? And there's 2 of us ambassadors standing there coaching soccer, and we're like, we're still going to drink it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what the reason is that they don't agree, right? Also, they're going to need it and they're going to remember you. So, okay. So I want you to just repeat out loud to yourself, I'm going to get fired up about my dream. Okay? Say that to yourself out loud. I'm going to get fired up about my dream. I love watching it. I'm going to get fired up about my dream. Nobody's going to get fired up for you. Okay? Get fired up. Okay? If at first you don't succeed, guys, that's normal. That is the average. Okay? That you're just, if you fail, you're average. Okay? That's normal. Okay? There's nothing bizarre. You're not doing anything wrong. Don't take failing as a reflection that you are a failure. Okay? That's actually backwards thinking. Ruth, did you want to say something? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're the one that first got me onto Brene Brown's book, Daring Greatly. And I haven't actually read the book yet, but I watched her show on Netflix. And she talks about how the failing thing, like you cannot succeed and be great without failing. That means you're actually living. And she's the one that, she talks about there's no courage. If you think you're being courageous without having that vulnerability and the willingness to fail, then you're lying to yourself, because there is no courage without vulnerability, and vulnerability means being willing to fail. Yeah, I'm blown away by her stuff. And I asked you, like, have you heard of Brene Brown? No. I'm like, okay, you have to read her book or watch her Netflix if you're not a reader.
Yeah, the Netflix show is so good. I listened to it, actually. I downloaded it and then listened to it when I was driving. I've listened to it twice already. It is so good because, so most people, so here's the funny thing about people. People would rather, I want to make sure I say this right because it's so impactful. I just flipped the page. It's not that I don't know it. I just want to say it in his exact words. He says, why do people prefer a known hell to an unknown heaven? Right? Why are people choosing a known hell of stress, right? Discontentment, discomfort, financial strain, all these different things to a known heaven? What's the holdup, right? And he says what fuels it is the feeling of it's comfortable. Okay, how many people have you talked to that are unwell and they would rather, I'm going to say deep down, I think they want to be well, but by their actions and their decisions, right? Because they have money to go to the local town fair, right? And spend it on cotton candy and wristbands and rides. I can't take my 4 kids without dropping $150. That's a welcome combo and more right there, right? But they would rather suffer in their own living hell because it's comfortable, right? It's comfortable. And so they say no to something that might take them out of their comfort zone because they don't know what it's going to feel like. There was a story of some prisoners in this podcast And I can't remember all the details of the story, but essentially I believe they were they might have been prisoners of war or whatever, but they were called a bunch to go through this door to who wants to go, out onto the lines, and everyone's like, oh, they were prisoners of war. They were being treated like absolute rotten, but yet they didn't want to take the chance to go outside of that rotten prison because they didn't know what was waiting for them. And then finally a bunch went, and then someone finally said, what is outside that door anyways? And the one guy said, or someone else had said, freedom. Like if you would have walked through the door, you would have been out. That was your ticket out. But you chose to sit here in this living hell and be treated like a prisoner of war, right? Instead of walking to freedom because it was unknown. You weren't sure what you were going to get, right? Isn't that exactly what happens? Isn't that what happens? We're scared to put our toe over the line in case we right away. Why do we default to the negative? Why do we default to the what if? We make excuses because we're sitting here in our comfortable living hell, which might be relational, it might be financial, right? And that's really what we're seeing across the nation. And that's why you see people who are either going to take it and run, or they're just going to sit there and coast. So he said many people stay in their jobs, making them sick, literally sick sometimes. And now we've got a lot of mental illness, and we've got whatever. I go for allergy shots twice a week. Those women don't even have windows up there. Could you imagine? And guess how happy they are? They are some of the most grouchy women I've ever met. Like, forget trying to say hi when you walk up to their desk. They are miserable. They're depressed. That office hasn't been renovated in decades. It's old. There's no windows. Can you imagine? But they'd rather sit in that living hell, and some of you probably know people like that, than to actually say, yeah, you know what, give me that link. Give me that link. I'm going to send that to a few people. Right? So they'd rather because they know it. Right? Does that make sense? Right? Isn't that crazy? So when people say no to you, remember, look at it from the lens of they're stuck in their current living hell, right? But they're scared to get outside of it because it's all that they know. So anyways, many of us choose, he says, a living active death because we're walking dead due to a lack of courage. He says, even if you experience failure, right, like I said before, it doesn't determine you as a failure. You are failing forward. If you're not failing in something, you're not walking, right? If you're not tripping over something, you've just got your feet planted, right? It's like trying to go for a hike and not ever catching your toe on a branch, right? Get out there, get some exercise. You are going to stumble and fall a little bit. Hopefully not fall, but you're going to stumble a little bit on something, right? But what's the trade-off? Otherwise, you just stand there and you don't exercise. You don't, right? You don't move your body, right? So you might stumble. And then he says, if somebody tells you, okay, what makes you think that you can, right? If you've got that going on and you're like, oh, I don't want to fail because what are people going to think of me? He says, I tell them because I'm Les Brown. You tell them because I'm Joelle McDonald, right? Because I'm Luann Garman, because I'm Jessica Hugendorf, and that's what makes me think I can do this. I've heard more times people say, what made you think you could do that? Because I'm Heidi Neufeld, and why not? Right? Because I'm Ashley, why not? Because I'm Ruth, why not? Why can't I? You tell me why I can't. It's people's own insecurity and uncomfortableness in themselves that will try to hold you back. Don't be the crab in the basket that's pulling other people down, right? And don't be the crab in the basket that's getting pulled down, right? Failing is normal. Just step out. Okay. No more excuses. Who's going to listen to the podcast? Listen to the podcast. Go. Do everybody know what app to use? Do you guys all have an app and how to find it?
Which app is it? I don't know how to find it.
Okay, so do you have an Apple?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you go to your iPhone, and someone will have to help me that's not an Apple user, but in my iPhone, see how close I can get this. Okay, in the app, see that purple one?
Okay.
At the top?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the podcast app. If you just click on there, on that app, I had to get help finding it too. You click on there in the app, and then you will you'll be able to select and search. You can look up Abby Kappa, you can look up Les Brown, whoever inspires and encourages you. Someone that's not an Apple user, I understand that it's the same. I think there's an app as well for that, but it's really that quick and easy, and they're free. They're free. Yeah, so you can choose your library, you can search. You can see I've got Les Brown up here, if anybody can see that. And they're just really quick and easy. You can save the ones you love so you can listen to them again. But yeah, your device somewhere will have something for podcasts. And yeah, try to listen to at least one a day. Feed yourself with something, right? Because it's up to us. It's like fertilize your garden. You have to fertilize your mind. You have to fertilize the mind. Put something in there. And, you know, if you listen to it twice, awesome. Starts to really resonate.
Heidi, who is the gentleman you're referring to that you were just listening to a podcast? Is it the one who said, why do people prefer unknown health to an unknown habit? Who was that?
Les Brown.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. His laugh alone is going to have you in stitches. You can't not fall in love with Les after listening to them.
What was the podcast name? You gave us a name earlier.
Yeah, it is.
From Les Brown.
Don't give yourself excuses. Super.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then many more of his will pop up. They're all actually good, but this one really is. If you need a kick in the pants, you're going to enjoy this one. And we all need a kick in the pants sometimes.
Thanks so much, Heidi.
You're welcome, Jess. Safe travels home today.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Have an amazing Saturday. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and just kind of pay attention, okay, to the body postures of people and to your own, and what your tone of voice is like. If you're excited, like, I gotta tell you about this, right? I've had people say, I don't want to get on a whole other topic here, but just recently I asked someone, have you heard about plexus? And they were like, no. And I remembered Sonia Dudley saying, well, if they say no, then you need to tell them, like, what? Right? Everybody's talking about plexus. How have you not heard about plexus? Because we do that about other things, but, right, heaven forbid we would share something that might benefit us somehow. Anyways, it's just internal, right? It's not actual factual. And so dig deep, break down your whys, break down your rewards, and share them in the chats. You know, you guys are in chats. I would encourage you, share, say, listen, here's my renewed why, and here's how I'm going to reward myself as I climb this ladder. Share that, right? Encourage each other. And yeah, let's just be supportive and walk it out. We can do it. Okay, so next Saturday.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Joelle. See you.